Welcome to World of Purity, seekers of truth and deeper understanding. Today, we embark on a profound journey, delving into a topic that intersects ancient wisdom, spiritual practice, and the very essence of human vitality. We are going to explore the concept of semen retention, not as a fringe idea, but as a forgotten science of spiritual and physical empowerment. And we will examine it through the lens of one of history's most revered figures, Jesus Christ. This might sound unconventional to some, perhaps even controversial, but I invite you to approach this with an open mind and a discerning heart. Our goal is not to diminish the sacred, but to uncover layers of meaning that might have been overlooked, revealing practical applications for our own lives and spiritual growth. Hold on, before we unlock the real power of semen retention, hit that subscribe button and join our Telegram channel, link in description. We drop daily wisdom, success tools, and energy secrets only shared there. Don't watch from the sidelines, become part of the movement. For centuries, various spiritual traditions, from Taoism and Tantra to certain yogic paths and even esoteric Christian mystics, have recognized a powerful connection between sexual energy and spiritual power. They teach that the vital life force, often expressed physically as semen in men and potent creative energy in women, is not merely for procreation. Instead, it is a reservoir of incredible energy that, when conserved and transmuted, can be directed upwards, fueling higher consciousness, mental clarity, physical strength, and profound spiritual experiences. This practice is broadly known as semen retention. Before we dive into Jesus' life, let's briefly define what semen retention entails. It's not about suppressing sexual desire or becoming ascetic in a purely negative sense. Rather, it's about consciously choosing to conserve the seminal fluid, preventing its outward release, and instead, allowing its potent energy to be reabsorbed and utilized by the body and spirit. This internal alchemy is believed to transform gross sexual energy into subtle spiritual energy, often referred to as ojas in Ayurvedic tradition or Jing in Taoist teachings. This refined energy is what empowers spiritual masters, granting them extraordinary health, charisma, and profound spiritual insight. Now, let's turn our attention to Jesus. The New Testament portrays Jesus as a figure of unparalleled purity, wisdom, and power. He was able to perform miracles, heal the sick, cast out demons, and speak with an authority that captivated multitudes. He walked a path distinct from many of his contemporaries, a path of unwavering devotion and self. Crucially, the scriptures consistently depict Jesus as chaste. There is no mention of him ever marrying or engaging in sexual relations. This isn't just an incidental detail. It is a foundational aspect of his persona, often interpreted as a symbol of his divine nature and separation from worldly desires. But what if this chastity was more than just a symbolic state? What if it was a deliberate, conscious practice, aligning with the very principles of semen retention known in other ancient cultures? What if his purity was not merely an absence of sin, but an active cultivation of inner power? Consider the context of the Holy Spirit. Throughout the Gospels and the book of Acts, the Holy Spirit is described as a divine force, bringing power, wisdom, healing, and guidance. It is often depicted as fire, wind, or a dove, symbols of intense energy and purification. Jesus himself was conceived by the Holy Spirit. From the very beginning, his life was imbued with this divine essence. He was baptized with the Holy Spirit, which descended upon him like a dove, empowering him for his ministry. And he promised his disciples that they, too, would receive the Holy Spirit, which would grant them power to be his witnesses. Think about the descriptions of the Holy Spirit's manifestation. Tongues of fire at Pentecost, the disciples speaking in other languages, performing miracles, and speaking with boldness. This isn't a passive, gentle energy. It's a dynamic, transformative, almost volcanic power. This divine fire, this intense spiritual energy, bears a striking resemblance to the descriptions of energy transmutation in semen retention practices. When vital life force is conserved and sublimated, it rises through the central energetic channels, awakening dormant spiritual centers and leading to profound experiences, often described as a burning or fiery sensation. Could it be that Jesus' perfect chastity, his complete conservation of his vital life force, created an open and unobstructed vessel for the Holy Spirit's fire? By not expending his seminal energy, he maintained an incredibly potent inner reservoir, allowing the divine energy to flow through him without impediment. The Gospels describe Jesus' deep connection to prayer and solitude. He would often withdraw to mountains or desolate places to pray, sometimes for entire nights. These periods of intense spiritual communion would have been crucial for consolidating and directing the internal energies. Imagine this, a body and mind purified, vital energy conserved, focused through prayer and meditation, and then infused with divine grace. This combination would create an almost superconductive state for spiritual power, allowing Jesus to manifest miracles that astounded those around him. His teachings often emphasized self-mastery, controlling desires, and focusing on higher spiritual truths. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. This purity of heart can be interpreted not just as moral innocence, but as an energetic purity, a state where vital forces are directed towards the divine rather than dissipated. Furthermore, consider the concept of dying to the self, or taking up your cross. While primarily metaphorical for spiritual sacrifice, it also carries an undertone of transcending carnal desires and passions. For many spiritual traditions, mastering the sexual impulse is seen as one of the most challenging, yet most rewarding, steps towards enlightenment. Jesus' transfiguration, where his appearance changed and his clothes became dazzling white, is another fascinating account. This event is often interpreted as a glimpse of his divine glory. Energetically, such an experience could be seen as a manifestation of highly concentrated and refined spiritual energy radiating outwards. A literal glowing of the temptations in the wilderness, where Jesus fasted for 40 days and nights, illustrate his incredible self-control and mastery over bodily desires. He refused to turn stones into bread, refused to bow to worldly power, and refused to test God. This was a direct confrontation and triumph over the lower ergias, strengthening his spiritual resolve. This period of intense fasting and spiritual discipline would have further purified his system, making him an even more potent channel for divine energy. It's a classic example of how self-denial, when directed towards a higher purpose, can unlock immense spiritual power. Now, let's address some common misconceptions. Semen retention is not about misogyny or shaming sexuality. It's about conscious choice and responsibility over one's own energy. Sexual energy itself is sacred and powerful. The question is how we choose to wield it. Nor is it about suppressing emotions. In fact, by retaining and transmuting this energy, individuals often report heightened emotional sensitivity, greater empathy, and a more profound connection to their inner self and to others. The idea that Jesus' purity was merely a given due to his divine nature might miss a crucial point. If he was fully human as well as fully divine, then his choices and practices set an example for humanity. His path of purity was an active demonstration of spiritual mastery, accessible to those who chose to follow. If we accept this premise, it offers a powerful new interpretation of Jesus' life and teachings. His miracles weren't just random acts of divine intervention. They were the natural outpouring of a being whose vital energy was perfectly aligned and saturated with the Holy Spirit's power. Cultivated through a disciplined life, the healing power of Jesus could be understood through this energetic lens. The high vibration and potent OIS, or Holy Spirit fire, flowing through him would naturally have a harmonizing and restorative effect on those who came into contact with him, aligning their energies and facilitating physical and spiritual healing. Consider the parables he told, the wisdom he imparted. His words carried immense weight and transformative power. This isn't just about intellectual understanding, it's about the energetic resonance behind the words, the clarity and authority that comes from a purified and fully integrated being. For those on a spiritual path today, what can we learn from this perspective? It suggests that our sexual energy is a sacred trust, a potent force that can either be squandered or consciously cultivated for higher purposes. Practicing semen retention, or for women, conscious conservation of creative energy can be a powerful tool for deepening one's spiritual connection, enhancing meditation, improving mental focus, and increasing overall vitality. It encourages us to look beyond conventional understandings of spirituality and explore the ancient, often forgotten, sciences of energy and consciousness that underpin many profound religious experiences. This isn't to say that everyone must practice semen retention to be spiritual or to follow Jesus. The path to God is multifaceted. However, it offers a compelling explanation for the extraordinary power and purity demonstrated by Jesus, and it provides a practical discipline for those seeking to emulate his example of spiritual mastery. It aligns with the idea of the body as a temple for the Holy Spirit. If our bodies are temples, then the vital energy within them is a sacred offering, to be stewarded wisely and directed towards divine ends. The fire of the Holy Spirit, in this context, becomes not just a metaphor but a description of a profound energetic reality. It is the transformative power that ignites within when our vessels are prepared through purity and conscious energy management. So, why Jesus stayed pure? Not merely out of moral obligation, but perhaps as a foundational practice for channeling unparalleled divine power. His purity was his strength. His self-mastery was his open door to the Holy Spirit's fire. This understanding invites us to reconsider what purity truly means, in a spiritual sense. It is not just about abstaining from sin. but about actively cultivating and directing our most potent life forces towards our highest good and highest purpose. In conclusion, while the traditional theological interpretations of Jesus' life are deeply valuable, exploring his chastity through the lens of semen retention offers a compelling, complementary perspective. It bridges ancient esoteric wisdom with Christian narrative, revealing a practical aspect of spiritual empowerment that resonates across traditions. It suggests that Jesus didn't just passively embody purity, he actively practiced it, harnessing his vital energy to become the ultimate conduit for the Holy Spirit's fire, demonstrating a path of profound transformation available to us all. May this exploration inspire you to look deeper into the sources of your own vitality and spiritual power, and to consider how conscious choices about your energy can ignite the divine fire within you. Thank you for joining me on this thought-provoking journey. Until next time, may you walk in wisdom, purity, and the radiant fire of the Spirit. If you found this discussion enlightening, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the deeper currents of spirituality and human potential. Listen up. Your assignment before you leave: like, subscribe, and go. I need to know your location comments section is mandatory. Our next video builds on this, so subscribe right now and turn on notifications. For all the direct interaction, questions, and daily growth insights, get into the Telegram channel. The link is waiting in the description. Share this video and let's spread this power. Go be a force today.